pot. He's the guy who wins the pot.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, it's scary. You don't know what the guy has. You can lose all your money, and you can be so far beat at that point. So it's always very scary when you have to call a pretty big bet or a raise.
Well, I'm gonna play my best and try to trap people if I can. First 15 minutes, I'll see what happens.
Okay, the action is going to be on Chris.
Chris folds.
He folds.
Stan folds.
Beauty. Mark calls the 2,000
Now Mark just
from the
calls
small
in the
blind.
small blind. It's the first time we've seen that today. I'm interested to see what Han Lee's going to do. Now Han Lee's got a king jack here,
20,000 raise.
and he's
Han Lee
going to raise it. And as soon as he says raise,
20,000,
Mark
and
folds
Mark
his hand. He
folds.
didn't even
Han
wait
Lee
to see
wins the
how much
blind
he's
to the
raising.
ante.
Now, that was pretty interesting.
And Mark safe has
Actually,
the
that's
button
giving a
now.
little bit of information to your opponent there. I think Mark acted a little bit too hastily there. Because now, from now on, Han Lee can just say raise and just see if the guy's going to wing his cards in.
Okay, I was going to tell you, Mike, Han Lee was my pick from the beginning, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, dude.
You know how I like to pick the players. I take a look at the players, and I see who looks the luckiest, and then I go with them. Well, the guys walked out here. They all walked out, and they all look very tight, except for Han Lee. He raised his arms over his head. He looked very excited. He was laughing. He was loose. He's going to win. He looks lucky. That's my pick for today.
Well, I got to say, Vince, it's just like you to take a shine to a guy whose nickname is Kamikaze. But last week, you picked the winner of the 5-Diamond Poker Classic at Bellagio, Gus Hansen.
That's right.
This week, you're going with Han Lee.
Sure.
You know, I, on the other hand, picked Scotty Wynn last week. He went out in 6th position.
Bombed out.
This week, I picked Kathy Liebert. She's the first one to go. Vince, so far, you're batting 1,000. My picks haven't been so good. Let's see how your man Han Lee does
Mark
today.
safe with the
Okay.
button.
Okay, Mark inherits the button. Stan will be the first to speak. And he
And
folds.
folds.
It's up to Mark on the button.
12,000.
And he comes in
Mark
for
raises to
12,000.
12,000.
Now he's raising in late
$1,000
position,
raise.
Vince.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. He doesn't have much of a hand at all. It's just 6 and 7, so it's a cold stone bluff.
And Han Lee folds.
Han Lee folds.
Time.
Chris called time. Normally when you call time, you're going to make a play here.
Look what Chris has. He's got Big Slick.
He's certainly probably going to raise the pot, just a matter of how much.
I'm gonna raise it.
He raised.
He is going to re-raise.
He does raise.
25,000 more.
He raised it 25,000 more.
Called
Look
the
at the look on
12,000,
Mark's
re-raise
face.
25,000.
Aggravated that he got caught.
12.
Look at him.
He called the 4 and raised 8.
Now look at
Take
Mark.
that one. Then let me take this.
Just trying to check out Chris to see whether he can really do a bluff and re-raise or whether it's just worth just get the heck out, which he does.
Yeah.
And Mark
Now
folds.
he shows the ace-king. Now that's interesting. I mean, they already think he's a conservative player. Why do you want to convince him of it? Han Lee inherits the button. Chris in the small blind, Stan the big blind. And Mark will be the first to speak.
Now look at this. Mark has a real hand. He has Big Slick. And he's going to raise.
You'll raise it 12,000, make it 16 total.
You know, it's
Mark
interesting.
raises
This
it
Big Slick has come up a
12,000
lot
more,
after
total
just a few hands
16,000.
today.
Ace-king's come up a lot today, but I guarantee you one thing. Kathy wishes she's never seen it today. Han Lee folds, Chris folds this time.
Chris
Now
folds.
here's a hand that Mark's looking to get played with. He's raised a couple hands in a row. Now we're down to Stan, the big blind.
And Stan folds.
And he folds,
Ace king.
And Mark
and Mark shows the ace-king. I don't think that's a good play.
We're all going to get
The other hand, he mucked his hand before Han Lee had a chance to say anything but raise. And this time, he showed his cards after a raise. You know, they may be able to pick up some information on this. So.
Well, you're right. That might not have been the greatest move, but at least Mark is still sitting there. He's still in the tournament. Whereas Kathy Liebert had ace-king earlier, but she ran up against a pair of queens. Second hand of the tournament, knocked out. And our own Shauna Hyatt will take a closer look at the promise and the pitfalls of playing Big Slick ace-king.
Shauna?
Big Slick, a sweet treat or a sticky mess? Catch the deal on this edition of the WPT Poker Corner.
Most hands in poker play themselves. You toss the junk and ride your aces. It's the cards in between that separate winners from the pack and losers from their chips. And there's no better example of in between than the potential powerhouse known as Big Slick. No doubt the ace-king combination is a strong hand. The odds you'll hit the flop with top pair are nearly 1 in 3, and you're the favorite against any other non-paired hand. This is good. But remember, you're an underdog against every paired hand all the way down to deuces. All you've got is sweet potential. Big Slick is just good enough to go all in with, and just weak enough to bust you. This is bad. It's all in how you play Big Slick. When you raise, if you raise, who you chase off, and who comes back at you. If it all breaks right, ace-king can be a blessing. If not, it can be a slippery slope. Remember, they don't call it Big Slick for nothing.
Well, the action is going to be on Chris. And look at that, Vince. He's got an ace high and he folds it.
Yeah, you know, four-handed, that's not that bad of a hand. I mean, this is the guy that bets hard with 3-5, and now he's folding with ace.
Stan folds. And now here's Mark with a 3-9 of spade. He calls.
Hanley.
Hanley knocks the table. That means go ahead and give us a flop.
Now, he's only got a 4-7 in his hand. Both these guys have horrible hands, but you never know.
Here comes the flop. 6-6-8. This gives Hanley a gut shot straight draw. And Mark checks.
10,000.
And Hanley's betting 10,000. It's a nice bold bet by Hanley there.
Certainly is.
And Mark folds his hand.
Now, those people out there, they're saying, hey, wait a second. I read in the book you got to wait for the big hands. You know what? In this kind of game, you can throw the book out.
He gives himself a cheer. It's a nice bet there on the gut shot straight by Hanley. He picks up the pot.
I'm confident. I have to win today, you know. I feel good.
So aggressive play does pay off. Hanley showing that.
Is that better?
Now, Mark Safe, look at this. He's picked him up. The 2 bullets, the pocket rockets, the best hand in poker.
Oh, man. American Airlines, he's picked them up. Look, he's trying to act casual.
It comes in for 16,000.
But Hanley's got a pretty interesting hand, a 9-10 of hearts. He has no idea that Mark Safe has a pair of aces.
Well, he's on the button. He's in position. These are the kind of hands Hanley likes to play. He likes to take a flop with these hands. But let's see if he'll call 16,000 to do it. He does say I call.
That's a call, Hanley.
Okay, Chris is going to go out. This is going to be an interesting pot. Mark trying to look concerned, but I don't think he's that concerned at this point. He knows he has the best hand at this time.
And Stan, who's in the big blind, he still has an option to play this pot. And he folds. So here we go, back to Mark and Hanley one more time. This time, Mark Safe has 2 aces, the pocket rockets. Whoa, comes Jack 4-3 with 2 hearts. Mark checked on the flop.
He's trying to trap him.
30,000.
And Hanley's coming out and he's going to bet. He's swinging away.
Hanley has bet 30,000.
Okay, Mark check. Hanley bets 30,000.
Well, he's trapped him perfectly, Vince.
Yes, he has.
Of course, he may trap himself.
I'm going to raise.
Mark says he's going to raise.
I'm going to make it 80,000.
He's going to raise it
50,000 more, he says.
80,000.
He's making it 80,000 here, Vince. What a pot this is.
That certainly is. That could buy a nice new car.
Whoa, these two are clashing here. This could be a knockout blow for one of them.
So we have a $50,000 raise to Hanley.
Now, Hanley's got a flush draw. Of course, Mark could even have a bigger flush draw. He could be drawing almost dead here.
You never know.
I call.
He's calling, though. He's gambling.
Call.
This is a gambling man, Vince, and he is going for it right here.
Okay.
He's called 50,000 more. Now, he's got less than 20,000 left here.
Here's the card. He didn't catch the flush as of yet.
The deuce comes on the turn.
30,000.
This is certainly no help to Hanley. Mark sets him all in.
I call.
Well, Hanley is going for it. He is going to have to make a flush, Vince, or he is out of this tournament.
Hanley is trying to chase the aces down. He's a big dog. Is he going to do it?
Well, we've already lost 2 players. Will Hanley make it 3? Don't go away. Stay tuned for all the action from Los Angeles here on the World Poker Tour. We are back at the finals of the Legends of Poker at the Bicycle Casino just south of Los Angeles. And with one card to go, Han Lee is one card shy of a flush. He is up against the pocket aces of attorney Mark Safe and Vince. Mark has played this hand perfectly so far. He woke up with aces. He check-raised Han Lee on the flop. And with one card to go, he is a big favorite to win this pot.
And how doubly sweet it would be for Mark if he could not only win this hand, but to knock out his arch rival, the Kamikaze Kid, Han Lee. Let's watch him.
Well, here we go, Vince.
Okay, we have 2 aces
With one
for
card to
Mark.
go, Mark Safe is an 80% chance to win this pot. Oh! And he loses the pot. Look at this. He jumps for joy. Look at this.
Look at him.
He had to catch a harder. He's eliminated from the tournament. The 8 of hearts comes at the river. He is double up. Mark Safe, look at Mark.
Mark cursing.
Oh, he started with the best hand possible, 2 aces, and Han Lee cracked the aces with the flush at the river. What a pot for Han Lee, and that's a crippling blow for Mark Safe.
Well, Mark, put the chair down. I'm afraid he's going to chuck that thing. Looks very upset, rightfully so.
That is heartbreak. I mean, it is really
Han Lee
heartbreak.
had 18.
Look at this.
Look at Mark.
If Jeffrey Dahmer was a poker player, he would be Mark Safe.
On the river.
Well, rumor has it it's not the first time they've tangled with each other. Shauna?
Thanks, guys. Mark Safe and Han Lee have had a running battle since the beginning of the tournament. In the conversation I had earlier with Mark, I learned that the lawyer and former construction worker have been at odds before.
Han Lee came to my table a week ago with 5 times as many chips as the next guy, which was me, and I got very lucky against him. Got a lot of premium hands, and he wanted to mix it up, and he did. And I basically won the tournament because I got all Han Lee's chips.
Outside, oh, with this guy, he's very excited, you know. He know my name, he know how I play, and then when I raise, he come over top all the time. And then I need to win.
Before he started his own practice, Mark was a prosecuting attorney, and he knows how to build a case.
Every moment that I'm in a pot with Han Lee, I'm thinking 2 very divergent thoughts. A, am I about to get busted by him? B, is there an opportunity to take all his chips? And the more information you have, the better you're going to do. And if I can gain some information from Han Lee by asking him a question and basically analyzing his response, I might be able to get some information. Oftentimes it presents an opportunity to pick him off.
For all Mark Safe's legal training, the verdict he returns on Han Lee
Definitely the wildest player at the table. Very, very dangerous.
is remarkably similar to Han Lee's more direct opinion of Mark Safe.
I think he play crazy, you know.
Well, I can tell you right now, Mark feels like he's gone through a field of thorn bushes right now. He's all scratched and cut up.
2 aces against Han Lee. You dream of that stuff.
There's nothing worse. This is the kind of thing that makes you go to backgammon or something.
Chris has
That
the
was a
button.
brutal blow. Look at all these chips Han Lee has. They ain't had time to stack them yet.
Oh, man, and you know what? There is no rush, Han Lee. Just take your time. Now, look at this. Chris has a king-jack of club.
Hold on.
And he's going to throw it away.
On the button. Now, I'll tell you, that's a very poor play in my opinion.
Well, maybe he's just doing it because he doesn't want to give Mark Safe another bad beat there.
No,
He's being
forget
a little
about
nice.
it. Forget about it. You better take a man out if you get a chance to at the poker table.
Blind.
They give Mark Safe the pot.
Yeah, the funny thing is Mark has a terrible hand. He's going, wait, I had aces the hand before, and I lose this, and now I got this junk, and you're going to give this to me?
Button
Well, I
ready
can't
to
believe Chris
stand.
Garrigan gave him that pot. I think that's a very bad play on his
Mark has
part.
the button.
Mark's gathering his breath now. He's on the comeback trail just a little bit here.
Look, he keeps nodding his head. He's getting a little punchy from all this poker here. It's going to be up to Stan first. He looks at his hand. Stan's just staying out of the way. Now
And he folds.
Mark's got an interesting hand this time. He has 3-4 of clubs, and he is going to call it.
Mark calls on
He's
the
limping
button.
in on the button, trying to see a flop with the 3-4 clubs.
Han Lee has not stacked his chips. He's got this monstrous stack in front. Just keeping it out there, just saying, you know what? I'm trying to intimidate you here a little bit. I can't even stack my chips.
And look what he called with the Jack-6 offsuit. And he flops the top pair.
Wait a
But it's
second. A flush for Mark. Look at this.
3 clubs out there.
10,000.
Han Lee is going to bet 10,000. Chris folds.
This is such an exciting thing for Mark Safe right now.
Mark's going into Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. He's doing a little Jack Nicholson job here. You flop a flush. Your opponent bets into you, and he's just calling.
And he just calls. What a nice, smooth play that is. Right there by Mark Safe. Now 7 comes off on the turn. That's a very dangerous card for Han Lee because it looks like he might have a straight here.
30,000.
He has the top pair, and he's going to bet. He is going to bet. Mark's got to love this. Han Lee bets 30,000. Now Mark only has about 45,000 altogether. It's just a matter if he puts it in here now.
This is what you want your sucker to do. You've set him up, and he's betting right into you.
I'm all in.
And Mark's
Mark
going
says
all
I'm
in.
Going all in.
Look at Han Lee.
Look at Han Lee's look.
Look at these guys
look.
looking at each other.
Look at this. This is a stare down. It's like a boxing match. We got the defense attorney versus the kamikaze kid. He's really kamikaze on this hand because he's drawn completely dead, Vince.
Well, yeah, it's a disaster trap for Han Lee. He just went into it. Mark tickled pink that he can get his nemesis here and get him back for the last flush draw that Han Lee outdrew him. So it's a great rivalry.
It's a monster pot that's only going to cost Han Lee another 15,000, 16,000 to call.
I call.
He calls him.
Let's turn him up, please. Okay,
Han Lee
Mark
nods his
says
head. He knows he's drawn dead now.
He has a flush.
Mark,
Yeah, Mark knows it too. As soon as he turns up his card, he gives a clap.
you can be lucky, Mark. Even though your
Han Lee
aces get
cannot
cracked,
win this pot.
you
He
did
has
it.
Yes.
6 offsuit.
By the way, if I have to get an attorney, I want Mark Safe. This man could do wonders, I think.
Well, he's intense. He's determined. He'll fight for you, Vince. I believe
He
that.
will fight for me.
Excellent play by Mark Safe in this pot.
Well, Mark's feeling better. And that changes the chip count somewhat. Let's give you a quick chip count again. At this point, Chris is still our leader with 282,000 in chips. Han Lee's still in second with 172,000. Mark has vaulted into third with 125,000. And Stan has about 95,000, so it's tightened up a little bit.
12,000.
And here comes Mark again, Vince.
To 12,000.
Yep, 12,000 total is the bet.
That's an 8,000.
He's got an ace-3 offsuit, makes his little raise. What's his rival going to do, Han Lee?
He's coming for 12,000 here. Now look at this. Han Lee is on the button with 2 5s. It's 12,000 to him. He just got outplayed and beat by Mark the very last hand. You think this is getting personal between these two, Vince?
I raise. I raise.
He says, I'm raising.
He's raising.
Look at Mark. I give up. I'm throwing my hands up. Every time I try to get something going, this guy stops me in my tracks here.
Mark, throw away all aces. Anything, if you have an ace in your hand, get away from it. You need 3, 4 clubs. That's about it.
Unbelievable. He re-raised it with the 2 5s.
Stan Goldstein, the mystery guest here at the table, hardly playing.
Stand fold.
And he folds, and now it's back to Mark Safe. Now he has a weak ace here, but still, he just can't believe his nemesis has popped him back.
It's all yours, only. Take it down, Tiger.
Mark
He
says,
folds
"I'll
his
let this
hand.
one go."
Poor Mark, every time he
Han Lee
thinks he's
wins
taking one
pot.
step forward, Han Lee sends him backwards.
Well, obviously, they're going after each other. It becomes personal. It shouldn't, because you shouldn't let your ego get involved. But it's the greatest reward of all, to defeat the mightiest warrior.